China recently made a sharp trade move against Canada, imposing new tariffs on key exports such as pork, rapeseed oil, and other agricultural goods, industries that have long relied on Chinese buyers. This decision follows months of rising tensions between the two countries, with many in Canada not anticipating the scale of this move. The tariffs are seen as a direct hit to Canadian farmers and exporters. Although China has not provided much explanation beyond the official announcement, the timing raises questions about whether this is a response to Canada's stance on global trade policies or part of a larger strategy. The strained relationship between the two nations has been building quietly for some time, with Canada's alignment with the U.S. on trade restrictions against China, including technology bans, investment limitations, and supply chain restrictions. Additionally, Canada's recent policies on Chinese investments and exports, such as restrictions on critical minerals and regulatory hurdles for Chinese businesses, have further strained relations. These new tariffs are targeted at major Canadian exports like pork, rapeseed oil, seafood, and dairy products, industries that depend heavily on Chinese buyers. With these tariffs, China is not just making a statement, but directly impacting sectors where Canada will feel the pain most. This move is seen as part of broader trade tensions beyond Canada, as the U.S. has increased trade restrictions on China, with Canada supporting some of these policies. China's tariff imposition signals its readiness to push back. Additionally, Canada's economy is already under strain, and by applying pressure now, China knows the impact will be felt more quickly. China also aims to show that aligning too closely with U.S. trade policies has its costs. These tariffs don't just affect exports, they put entire industries under pressure, especially Canadian farmers and food producers who rely on China as a major buyer. If these tariffs remain, businesses might face price drops, reduced production, financial losses, and potentially even shutdowns, leading to job losses across entire supply chains. Canada now faces the difficult challenge of countering this economic pressure. The Canadian government faces a tough decision: either push back or absorb the hit from China's tariffs, but neither option is simple. Retaliating with its own tariffs could escalate tensions with China, a key trade partner, while doing nothing would leave Canadian businesses that rely on exports struggling with fewer buyers and shrinking profits. Farmers, food producers, and exporters are already calling for action, but the real question is what response could actually work. Some trade experts suggest Canada may turn to new markets in Asia, Europe, or the Middle East, though shifting trade relationships takes time, and immediate losses are already being felt. With pork producers facing a surplus, rapeseed oil shipments delayed, and seafood exporters at risk, small and medium-sized businesses are especially vulnerable, as layoffs and cutbacks could follow if demand doesn't recover. China's tariffs are reshaping Canada's trade landscape, but the bigger worry is whether this economic pressure will spread to other industries or trigger a broader trade dispute. As other countries like the US, Brazil, and the EU may step in to fill the gap left by Canada, this trade move could affect global markets and shift trade flows. Analysts worry this could also be a message to other Western nations about the consequences of taking a hard stance on trade policies with China. With U.S.-China trade tensions escalating and Canada's policies largely following Washington's lead, some believe China's response to Canada is a warning not just to Ottawa, but to the U.S. and its allies. With relations between the U.S. and Canada already strained over trade and energy policy, Beijing may see this as the right moment to apply pressure, knowing Canada is already facing challenges in its trade relationships. The uncertainty is growing. And with global trade alliances shifting, Canada's next steps could reshape how it positions itself in future negotiations. Whether this turns into a long-term standoff or a short-lived dispute depends on how China pushes and how Canada handles the pressure.